Here it is. This is the only cantaloupe I got out of the garden this year. And I continue my quest to produce more than one cantaloupe a year. I've had the worst luck with these plants of any plant I've ever put in the ground. So several years ago I had an entire set of vines that were growing in the back garden. They were doing great, just flourishing, blooms on them all over the place. I go out there one day and I watch a gopher stick his head up right around where the root is and grab a hold and pull the entire cantaloupe vine under the ground, which has, that began my hatred of gophers, watching my poor cantaloupe vines go under the ground. So this year I started very early. I planted a garden in February in SoCal, and it gets hotter here than in other places, but it was still a little bit cool. So I planted many packs of seeds of cantaloupe, and hardly any of them came up. And it was because it wasn't warm enough. So there was a few stragglers that came up, but not very many, and they didn't get a good start and didn't do well. So I reseeded. I bought a whole bunch of more packs of cantaloupes, all different types. Thought I'd be bombarded with cantaloupes. And then, of course, they start doing great. And then the heat of Southern California comes up and it starts cooking them all. And the squash do fine in the heat. The corn does fine in the heat. Cantaloupe doesn't like the heat. And everywhere I read online, cantaloupes love full sun. Not in Southern California they don't, because they just wilted up like crazy. So I thought, I got a backup garden. I planted some extra seeds in the back in the shade up against the wall. They'll do great back there. And again, they started off real good, started running grapevines. And then this patchy ground cover type of weed starts growing in there. I thought, it's okay. The vines are strong. They're going to do okay. I can't get in between the plants because there was so many cantaloupe vines. I thought if I mess up the vines, they're not going to grow. So the ground cover starts covering up all of the vines, killing all the leaves. I'm looking at going, you're not going to produce anything. So we got in there. We pulled all this ground cover out. And in the process, it screwed up the roots of most of these vines that were back there, and they all withered up and died. Never produced anything. They bloomed like crazy, never produced anything. So on the fence, we got a couple of cantaloupe vines start climbing the fence on the one side, and they're doing great, blooming all up the fence. And we got 2 melons hanging. Thought, we're going to get 2 cantaloupe this year. Well, the rabbits that we have that are renegade rabbits from the neighborhood get in the backyard and must have been jumping or something, start climbing up, pull down the vine, eat one of the cantaloupes entire before it's ripe. So this was the last one, and my wife didn't think it was ripe. It may not be. We've been sitting it here for about a week hoping it'll get more ripe in the house. Might be green inside, I don't know. Can't really smell it. Seems kind of firm. But at this point, I don't care. I wanted to get 1 cantaloupe, and if I left it out there, the rabbits would have ate it, and I would have had 0 cantaloupe for the season, and I probably would have never grown cantaloupe again, and I still may not. One other thing is we had several going up to the top edge of the block wall. I put a trellis back there, climbing up the trellis. Every time they got to the top of the block wall, something would chew them off. I don't know if it's the birds, I don't know if it's rats coming along the wall and eating them. We had those in the neighbor's yard because he's got a chicken coop back there. But it seems like every critter there is loves to eat cantaloupe vines. So I'm beginning to hate cantaloupes. I'm going to try next year in a bucket. If I don't get some cantaloupes, I'm going to never grow them again.